Welcome back to the channel, guys. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about styling. This is part 2 of the React Native Super Basic series. So according to me, styling is one of the easiest things to do in React Native. It's just a matter of wrapping your head around it. So for those of you coming from the web, you might be a little surprised to know that all the styles in React Native are in fact written inside JavaScript files using JavaScript itself. There is no concept of having separate style sheets which have the styles, and there are also no app-wide style sheets. All the styles must be encapsulated in a particular component and applied to that component either via inline styles or using something known as Stylesheet.create. A lot of the properties are very similar to CSS properties, like you have background color, font size, etc, etc. However, in CSS, you would usually write them with a dash in the middle, whereas in JavaScript and React Native, you write them in camel case. So the basic aim is to create isolated components which have their own styles and reuse those components anywhere in your app. As always, let's build something and we'll understand this better. So let's begin. So here in front of me, I have an empty React Native project that I've created with Expo, and I've opened it up in my favorite code editor, Visual Studio Code, and I'm running it here on my iPhone X simulator. So as you can see here, by default, we have an app component which has a view and a text inside it. Let's start by styling this text. So one way of doing it is doing it inline. So what you do is inside the component you want to style, which is the text component in this case, we put in something known as style, followed by an equal to, and you put in 2 pairs of curly braces. Inside this, we'll just say color and we'll set that to red. As we can see, the text has changed color to red. Whenever you use inline styles, you have to use 2 sets of braces. Suppose you want to move this style out into your style sheet. As you may notice here, on top we have something known as Stylesheet, which is imported from React Native. Once you have Stylesheet, you can come down here and you can create your style sheet. Like I said, it has to be a part of your JavaScript file. So here, let's leave this container style as it is, and at the bottom, let's put in text color over here. Text color followed by a colon and open up a bracket. This is just like an object in JavaScript. And here we'll say color, which is the property we want to change, and we'll set that to red. Now instead of putting it inline, we'll get rid of 1 pair of brackets and then say styles.textColor. If we save that out, you'll see we still get a red color. So when you want to put in styles from this style sheet, you just need 1 single bracket. And in case you want to put in inline styles, you need to have 2 pairs of brackets. That is the JSX syntax. Now what if you want to add some inline styles along with this style that you've added here? That can also be done in React Native. So inside the curly braces, put in an array here. Just put in a comma followed by another object in which you can put in the inline styles. So we'll say color and we'll set it to blue here. So as you can see, it works just like the hierarchy of a CSS style sheet, where the last style takes priority over the previous styles. So if you want to know what are the props that a particular component can take, you can head over to the documentation, and in the docs section, if you come down here in the components, you can find text there. Along with the basic explanation, if you scroll down, you'll see there's a section which has the props for that particular component. So these are all the props that a text can take, and the particular values are also mentioned. So since you're going to be referring to the props section quite often to find out what are the props that are available, instead of opening up the website every time, I try and do this small trick to find out, and that is, I just put in any random value here in a prompt which I know does not exist. So suppose I say ding and I save that out. So here I'm going to get a warning which says failed prop type, invalid prop. If I click on it, it'll tell me what are the valid keys available. And I can just look here just to confirm that, oh, okay, maybe I spelled something wrong. And what am I looking for? And you might just find it here without going to the website. So that's how you style a basic component in React Native. I'm just going to change this back to color. And let's talk about another important aspect of styles, which is laying out your screen. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of Flex right now. And in another video, we can dive deeper into Flex and all the particular values that it has. So let's first get rid of this text from here. And also I'll get rid of align center and justify content center here. That leaves us with one view, which has a flexo 1. So basically what flexo 1 does is, it tells the view to take up all the screen space available. So right now, since there's no other view, this particular view has taken up the complete screen. Let's change this color to orange to make it a little more visible. So there we have a view with a flex of 1. You always have to have one container view. You can't have another view along with this, otherwise we'll get an error. So if you put another view here and save that, it'll tell us that adjacent JSX elements must be wrapped in an enclosing tag. All that means is we need one parent element, and inside that we can put in all our other views. So let's put in 2 views here, each with a flex of 1 and 2 different background colors. They both try and take up as much space as there is available, and since they both want to take up equal amounts of space, they split the screen in half. Now if we change the lower view to a flex of 2, we'll see that it takes up 2/3 of the screen now. If we set it to 3, it takes up 3 plus 1, 4, 3/4 of the view of the screen. By default, you can notice that our views are stacked vertically. That's because flex direction by default is column. If we change that by saying flex direction, set that to row, we'll notice that the views are now stacked up horizontally, and they horizontally take up the space in terms of the ratio of the flex that is set. We'll just remove that again, and it gets set back to column. Let's also get rid of the bottom view, and instead of giving it a flex, let's now give it a height of 50 and a width of 50. And let's leave the background color as blue. So there we have a background color of orange, which is a view that takes up the complete space. Inside that we have another view with a height of 50 and a width of 50 and a background color of blue. So it starts from the top left corner. We want to move it towards the center and align it to the center here of the screen. So there are 2 properties available to us. The first one is called align items. Now we have to understand that when we want to space a particular view, we need to put these properties on its parent view. So we're telling the parent view that whatever views you have inside yourself, set them to the center. So we'll say align items, and we'll set that to center. So we see that when the flex direction is set to column, which is the default, align items works on the x-axis, whereas justify content, if we set that to center, will work on the y-axis. So there you see, it has moved from the top to the center using align items, and from the top down to the center using justify content. The other options that we have for align items are flex start, that moves the view to the beginning of the screen, or we can set it to flex end, which moves it to the end of the screen. Similarly, for justify content, we have flex start, which moves it to the top, and flex end, which moves it to the bottom. So that was a basic intro into using styles and flexbox in React Native. I hope you guys like this and you try this out. Thank you as always for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.